Angela, thank you very much for coming on the Business Wealth and Mindset podcast to speak to us and share your amazing story, a story of inspiration and courage and bravery and all sorts of things. So I'm sure a lot of our listeners will be looking to get some inspiration from that, from your journey, the humble beginnings and where you've been, the challenges, the successes, and the lessons within. So it would be good to capture the essence of all of that. So we'll normally sort of just get to capture your story in a sort of chronological order. So if you take us through from the humble beginnings, growing up in back home in Malawi, the siblings, the family, the school, your memories, and all of that, and then we take us through as a sort of chronological order of your story. So, is that all right to just take us through there from humble beginnings, and then within that we'll just get to chat about various things that you talk about. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. That's fine. So, I was born in Malawi. I was born in Zomba, in a family of two. I have one sibling. I have a younger sister, and my dad actually died when I was 2 years old. He died in a car accident. So I was raised by my mom. My mom trained as a nurse, so she used to work at Zomba Hospital, which was the old capital city of Malawi. And my dad was a lawyer. He was also working in Zomba. From there, I went to Lilongwe when the capital city moved from Zomba to Lilongwe. Then, so I was brought up in Lilongwe. I think I was about 8 years old when we moved to Lilongwe. But my mom was raised in Zimbabwe, so her family was in Zimbabwe, and I have cousins in Malawi and uncles in Zimbabwe, so we like half and half.
Yeah, I see.
Although I am, but my parents come from the northern part of Malawi. My mom comes from Karonga. My dad came from Katabe, but I don't know much about Katabe from my dad's side.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So growing up, your primary school then would have been in Lilongwe, having moved, yeah?
Yes, I briefly, starting school was in Blantyre because at one point I had to go and live with my mom's brother when my mom was studying. Yeah. So starting school was in Blantyre, but from then I moved to Lilongwe. So primary school was in Lilongwe, Lingazi, in area 18. From standard 7, I went to Ludzi boarding school. So I did my boarding school. I did my standard 7 and 8 at Ludzi boarding school.
Yeah.
From there, I did not make it I didn't get selected to secondary school. But my mom sent me to Kwezi. So I didn't repeat, but I went to Kwezi.
Okay.
Yeah, so from Kwezi, I only managed one term. Then the second term, we managed to find space in a government secondary school. So I went to Ekwendeni Girls Secondary School. I did from 1 to Form 4 at Ekwendeni Girls Secondary School. And from there, I was selected to Kamus College of Nursing. It was not my first choice. It was my third choice. But the competition was very high, so I did not manage to get into my first choice, so I ended up at Kamus College of Nursing.
Okay. What did you want to do before? What were your first two choices then?
So I wanted to do social science. I wanted to do social science or business studies because when I was in secondary school, I did a bit of typing and business type of thing in Form 1 to Form 4. So I did not do home economics because it was home economics or business studies. So I did the business studies, but I didn't have good grades at Form 4.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So before we sort of move on to more of your secondary and then the after that education. So what are your sort of best memories growing up as a child? Like, is there any particular things that you remember, whether it's people reading you stories or playing bao, or doing what kids do at that particular time in Malawi? Do you have any specific memories you remember growing up with your siblings or other families?
Yeah, I think especially boarding school. I just remember that we used to play a lot. I think we did not have any problem, and we just went there to play. So I really enjoyed my primary boarding school because it was just play, and we were really young. I was 11 years old, so I was in the boarding school from 11 years old. So with other 11-year-old kids, all we did was go to school, and then afterwards in the afternoon it was just play. And then in the evening we had to do some homework, I think for maybe 30 minutes, and then go to bed. So it was a lot of playing. The other thing that I remember a lot is traveling. So like I said, because I was raised by a single mother, my mom's brother loved to travel. So we would go to different districts. Like he would take us to Chikwawa, he would take us to Mulanje, and then we would travel all the way to the northern part of Malawi, because that's where his parents and my mom's parents came from. So we did a lot of traveling up and down. And even when we lived in Zomba, it was maybe almost every other weekend, it was this travel of Blantyre and Lilongwe. So that was good memories as well for us.
That's great. Okay. And then, going, you didn't make your first two choices of uni, and then you went to the third one. So what did you study there then?
So I did a diploma in nursing.
Okay.
Diploma in nursing, and I also did a certificate in midwifery, because in Malawi, a registered nurse had to be a nurse midwife. So I did both. So I was there for 4 years. The first 3 years was nursing, and the other year was for midwifery.
Okay, great. And then how did things progress from there then
So from there, I was allocated to go and work in Zimba as my first job. But because I went to secondary school at Ikwendeni, I just could not see myself in Zimba. So I declined it. And then because I declined, I wasn't able to get into a government hospital to work. So I ended up going for interviews at Blantyre Adventist Hospital, which is a private hospital.
Yeah.
But before I went there, I did a bit of odd jobs like research. I also worked at a pharmacy in Lilongwe for an Asian couple. So I worked there for a few months, and I also did some research to do with malaria and HIV and AIDS. I went to different districts until I got a job at Blantyre Adventist, where I worked for 6 months before I left Malawi.
Okay, wow. So at that time, sort of mentality-wise and guidance in terms of what you wanted to do and the career path you wanted to pursue, would you say you were pretty much in the zone of go to school, get a good education, and then get a good job, and then just make your way through that, just like most of us or most people in Malawi or Africa would be guided to? Would you say that was pretty much your mindset?
Yes, it was basically what my mom wanted me to do. I don't think it was what I wanted to do, because like I said, it wasn't even putting nursing as my third choice, was because the teachers who said put something so that at least you get selected to go somewhere. So when I got selected to KCN, I was so disappointed. I refused to go to KCN's College of Nursing. I was late by 1 month to go to school. My mom packed for me and my sister, because I did not want to be a nurse. My mom was a nurse, and I was so scared of hospitals and sick people. So I just could not see myself working as a nurse. But I think because I realized that I did not have any choice. And the other thing is, they say that if I do very well in my first year, I could apply to go to Chancellor College and carry on do social studies, which I went. But then I think I started having fun when I went to nursing the first year. I met my friends and I started having fun. Then I forgot all about going to Chancellor College. So I ended up just staying and doing the nursing until the end. Yeah.
Wow. So you raised two important points there. I mean, the first one is, being directed to do something that was probably not in line with your values and how you are feeling or you wanted to do. But under the same token, it seems did you have an idea? Of course, you wanted to do social science, but career-wise, did you know where and where that would take you, like particular field of study or work that you wanted to do with the social sciences? Because that's one part of people guiding you a specific path, because you yourself, you don't have a path or a way that you want to go. And then the second part is, even when you're guided into a particular area, which you never thought you would actually get to enjoy it, but then when you're in there, you start looking at it, you find yourself actually enjoying it and growing into it, and to an extent that it made you forget or actually not pursue going back to do your social studies, isn't it? So would you say this is typical of people or young people in Malawi? They find themselves in this situation?
Yes, because what I remember is that it was my teachers who were giving me all these social sciences. It was because of the teachers, and I think the subjects that I was strong in, that's what they were telling me. So I think that's where it came from. On my own, I don't remember knowing exactly what I want to do. At that age, I did not know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But then I think I was an all-rounder. Like I used to pass all the subjects, so I could mold myself into any of those subjects. That's why when I went to KCN, I still did well. So I still did well. Yeah. I did not have distinction, but I had credit. So even though I didn't want to do the subject.
Good. Now, I think it's one of those things. Is like you say, most people or most young people in Africa or in Malawi would find themselves in that situation whereby they are probably the clarity of the direction in terms of what they want to do. Maybe it can be quite difficult, and they need to be guided in that particular way. And in most cases, it will be through which subjects they're actually doing well in, and then that will probably direct where they would go. And then what then happened for the next phase of your journey to find yourself here?
Okay, so the next phase is like I said, my mom's family, they're all over in the world. So she had a young sister who lives here. So the younger sister said, since you did really like nursing, but here people who are nurses, they get good jobs, so you can come over here. So that attracted me. So I thought, let me give it a go. Maybe I might enjoy being a nurse. So that's how I ended up coming here. So I came here, lived with her, and then I went to do adaptation for nursing. Because I trained in Malawi, they said I have to do 3 to 6 months of adaptation. It's a course that is specific for nurses who trained outside the EU because I was from the Commonwealth then. So it was a long time ago. So I had to do this course in central London. From then on, I just started applying for jobs. So after the 6 months.
Okay. All right. How did you find the transition from Africa to here?
The transition was very, very difficult. Even the journey for me to do nursing, even though my aunt knew about nursing, but she didn't have all the information. So back then, there was no mobile phones to ring this one. So it took a long time for me to actually find the registering body for me to do this course. So it didn't happen like within a few months of me coming here. It took me almost 2 years for me to get registered, because I had to give them, information of where I trained in Malawi, and then they sent letters, they get references, and then the references have to come directly from Malawi to, it used to be called UKCC, which was the Nurses and Midwives Council of, now it's called Nurses and Midwives Council. But in Malawi, everything is at a slow motion. So there was no urgency of them sending these papers here until I had to chase them up myself. For them to do it. So it took a long time. And then once I got registered, then the UK body sent me a list of hospitals that does this course, because you had to go into one that they've recommended. So then I needed money, because I've been here a long time. I wasn't working properly, so I needed money. So I went to do live-in. I had to go and do the live-in jobs to raise some funds to pay for this course. But once I finished that, then I was able to get a job.
Okay, and then you.
So it was tough. It was tough. It was difficult, very difficult.
But I mean, normally, coming from Africa, you get the idea of coming to Europe for a good and better life and better opportunities as well. So you probably, speaking to your family here, you must have had that idea that you're going to a promised land with where the streets are paved with gold, and there's honey and milk and all of that. So for you to find that there is an element of you having to hustle and make your way and work your way up to a good living must have been a bit of a reality check, would you say? Yeah.
Yes, at some point I even thought to myself, I had a job in Malawi. I think I should just go back to what I was doing.